What's up, everybody? My name's Thomas with the World Animal Foundation. Today we're going to talk about things you should know before you get a Doberman. It's going to be a kind of a point-by-point illustration, not necessarily illustration, but walk through some of the things you should think about before you make that leap. Doberman is a big responsibility. I wouldn't call them high maintenance, but there are definitely some things that you should understand before you dive into this, especially if you end up with a Doberman like my Athena, my female Doberman. She's a handful. Not all of them are like that, but you never know. So it's important to be informed. Knowledge is power, as they say. So let's dive right in. Dobermans are highly adaptable and can live just about anywhere, but it's important to remember that they need plenty of mental stimulation and exercise. So if you do live in an apartment or a small dwelling or an area that doesn't have a yard, you're going to have to be the avenue for that exercise. It means you're going to have to get out, you're going to have to jog, you're going to do stuff like that. You're going to get your dog out of the house and out and about moving around. They're not sedentary dogs. They can't chill at the house all day. Now, if you got a big yard, you got two Dobermans like I do, they get a lot of exercise just going outside and playing with each other, or you get exercise going outside, throwing a ball with them. Just give proper care and attention is what they need, and plenty of athletic stuff. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what it is, playing, training, as long as they're getting out there and moving those muscles, because Dobermans do not like to chill all day long. They're just not that way. As far as space requirements, like I said, they're very adaptable. They can live in a small apartment, but they may be a little antsy inside. So like I said, you're going to want to get them outside, get them moving around as much as you can, get them on a leash, get them well trained, well socialized. And that way you can get them outside, give them plenty of exercise without causing any issues when you run into other dogs or other people or other kids who are obviously curious. Dobermans attract a lot of attention when you're outside, so definitely want to have them socialized. Now, there are definitely some health considerations you may want to think about. Dobermans are purebred dogs. Purebred dogs tend to have more health issues than mixed breeds. Mutts, most people call them, actually are the healthier dogs, naturally speaking. Dysplasia, they have hip issues. I'm sure you've probably heard of the German Shepherds and having that. Well, Dobermans have that issue as well. Maybe not as bad as the German Shepherds, but it is a common thing. I feed my Dobermans a lot of beef and bone broth that helps improve their joints. So hopefully when they get older, it kind of mitigates the effects somewhat. Dilated cardiomyopathy is another issue that Dobermans tend to have. They also tend to have difficulty with harsh weather extremes, cold or hot. It's especially bad in the cold because they have a short coat. So they're not able to stay as warm as like a German Shepherd or a Husky. Or dogs of that nature. So that's something you have to be concerned about if you live in a very cold environment. But they do tend to get dry skin in the hottest parts of the summer and the coldest parts of the winter. So coconut oil, rubbing them down with some oatmeal shampoo, or when you wash them, anything to help moisturize that skin, that's good for Dobermans. That will help out a lot as far as that's concerned. As puppies, Dobermans are probably a little more difficult to handle than they are as adults. That's generally because when they're young like that, they tend to have extremes. Like most puppies, they will sleep a lot, but when they're awake, man, they're a handful. They're all over the place. They're hyperactive. They're excited constantly. They need an avenue to channel that energy. That's when training comes in. That's when socialization is really important. You really want to socialize your Doberman pinscher when they're young puppies, because trust me, it's going to save you a lot of headache in the long run. But they'll be much more well-behaved dogs if you spend the time with them as puppies, give them exercise, give them mental stimulation, and just like I said, just spend time with them, let them cuddle up with you on the bed. I mean, Dobermans are already Velcro dogs, and even more so when they're puppies. They're just highly energetic, and you're going to have to be highly energetic with them in order to make it work. If you're not, then your Doberman may develop anxiety issues, or, may stress easier as it gets older. It may not take to socialization as well when it gets older. It may not take to training as well. These are very, very smart dogs, but there are, there are steps that you need to take as they grow to ensure that you maximize that potential physically and mentally. As far as time commitment and lifestyle, this is a lifelong endeavor, at least for the Doberman. Now, keep in mind, Doberman's average lifespan is 10 to 13 years. Some of them die a little younger. Rarely, they may die a little older of old age. But this is going to be a long period of time where you're going to be with your Doberman, and they do require a lot of your attention. As I mentioned earlier, they're Velcro dogs. They love to be with their humans, and typically Dobermans will attach to a single person in the family, although they will love their entire family. They always seem to have that favorite. That's the person that really has to take the initiative, spend the extra time with them. Like I said earlier, just plenty of exercise, plenty of companionship. You don't even necessarily have to do training or socialization all the time. Just interact with your Doberman. Allow him or her to come with you as you do various things around the house. Maybe you're sweeping the living room or cooking dinner. Let them chill out there in there with you, pet them, love them, talk to them, things of that nature. Dobermans love that stuff. I mean, they absolutely eat it up as much as they will food. They're just highly sociable animals within their family, not necessarily outside of their family, unless you do a really good job of socializing them. Like I said, that starts early. It is a long-term commitment, so be prepared for it. Again, back to the purebred thing. Dobermans are expensive upfront, and they're expensive over the long term. Upfront, they can cost anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000. Obviously, you're going to need to look for a reputable breeder, which we'll get more into that here in a minute. But you're looking at $1,000 to $5,000 on the low side. Now, if you're looking into champion bloodlines, you're talking $5,000 to $10,000. So you're really getting into the expensive side of things. As far as the vet is concerned, Dobermans don't necessarily need more than the average dog, maybe later in their life, especially if they develop the dysplasia I mentioned earlier or the cardiomyopathy that I mentioned earlier. Then obviously those things can add up really quick, but they do need quality vet care. Obviously, if you live in a state, you got to get rabies shots. I'm not sure what all the state laws are on rabies vaccinations across the country. Here in Florida, it is an absolute must. You have to have it. So yeah, those things can add up. And as purebreds and as dogs that tend to, have I would say minor to moderate skin issues over their life, they definitely need high quality food. We feed them high quality dog food without all of the extra additives. And we also throw in raw egg, daily supplements, things that they need. Obviously, their heartworm pills, their heartworm medications. You start adding all those things up, it gets pretty expensive. A big bag of dog food, you should not be going to Dollar General for. You should not be getting your dog Alpo or the cheapest thing on. Honestly, you shouldn't do that with any dog. But with Dobermans, it has a noticeably detrimental effect over time as far as their health is concerned. You got to stick with the premium food. Raw natural diets are fantastic as well. You just do have to be beware that they have sensitive stomachs, some of them, and that if you switch a food on them, it may make them sick for a little while. So you want to make gradual changes. If you give them this food and you've been doing it for so long and you're moving into a new food, you want to introduce that new food in portions into the existing food that they're used to, and increase it over time. That way they don't have big stomach problems. But overall, yes, it can get quite expensive to own a Doberman Pinscher, especially if you own multiple Doberman Pinschers. Trust me, I can tell you, they are not cheap dogs. They definitely, especially up front. And obviously you're looking for CKC, AKC registered dogs. AKC is the much preferable one over CKC, but again, we'll discuss that here in a minute. So yes, upfront cost, big, long-term cost. Average, it levels out, but it's still probably more than your average dog. All right, like I said earlier, you have got to find a reputable breeder. Backyard breeders are not going to cut it with Dobermans. There's no telling what they've got mixed in there. It's just, I would not do that. A lot of people tend to want to do that just because it saves them a lot of money, but you don't want to save a lot of money on a Doberman who hasn't been bred right, or, the people don't know what they're doing necessarily. They're just throwing females and males together. You just don't want to go there, trust me. You want to find a reputable breeder. At the very minimum, you want a CKC registered Doberman, preferably AKC registered, that's American Kennel Club. You want to look for people who have a lot of information on their breeding background. They need to have an online website. They need to have certifications. They need to have a lot of information and data. Consider what they give their dogs when the puppies are born. Do they give them vaccinations? How they socialize their puppies, health clearances, things of that nature. All these are essential because you're talking about a huge expense at the end of that Doberman's life, because if these are not reputable breeders, you may be running into a lot of medical issues later on down the road, and those things can add up much quicker, and you end up paying more just to keep your dog healthy and alive than you will upfront purchasing the Doberman. So reputable breeder for sure. Do your homework, do your research. Do not purchase a Doberman or any dog from that matter from some backyard breeder who doesn't even have, a web profile. Well, there you have it. Things to know before getting a Doberman. Just try and remember these are highly social animals within their family hierarchy, so to speak. They need to be socialized young. They need plenty of training. They need plenty of exercise. They need space. If you don't have space, figure something out. You have to be an active person if you don't have space inside for the Doberman. If you work a lot, if you can't spend any time, a Doberman is definitely not the dog for you. Make sure you look for reputable breeders. Don't purchase from backyard breeders ever. Like I said, doesn't even matter if it's a Doberman. Just don't do it. It's just it never really works out well. But other than that, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to comment at the bottom. I always try to jump on here and answer all your questions and concerns. And hopefully you learned a little something about Doberman pinschers today. And if you're eager or looking into purchasing one, now you know what to look for. Appreciate everybody watching and have a fantastic day.